Hey, I'm Molly with Building Heroes at Home, and today we have a question here from a mom who had a son in seventh grade, and then they just pulled him out from public school and started homeschooling him. Now, he'd been in public school and he'd been always self-motivated, hardworking, got straight A's, top of his class. And he wanted to be homeschooled because he was bored and he felt like school was just wasting his time. Well, when mom pulls kid home, he starts, or she researched curriculum, picked some curriculum he could do on his own, and she decided to check his work. And she discovered that it was all very sloppily done and not reading directions and just hurrying just to get it done so he could have free time, right? And he really hates some of the curriculum and part of the reason why he may hate it is because maybe he'd never learned it before, so it's hard. He's used to everything being easy. Um, so she wants to know, what do you do? How do you keep him motivated? And how do you help this kid transition to homeschool, right? So my thoughts here is that kids do not do what you expect. They only do what you inspect, right? So if you're not checking in with them, like sometimes it just seems easier to say, okay, I'm just going to give the kid the workbook and they're just going to go through it. And I'll just ask them ever so often if they're doing their math and they're going to say yes. And all is good until you check 3 months later and you're like, wait a second, you haven't done anything. And it happens to the best of us. Definitely has happened to me, right? It's just not going to happen. And it's difficult because he's coming from a very structured place to a very free place, right? And so he's not really seeing the point because, like, why do I have to do this, right? There's no deadlines, there's no accountability, there's no grades. Um, so as a mom, if you start checking the work and holding them accountable, they're going to do better. However, it might be that maybe the curriculum is really not that exciting. He doesn't see it. He doesn't see the point, right? Now, if he starts to find things that he loves and he starts focusing more on his strengths, he's going to be a lot more self-motivated, right? One skill that we have to learn in homeschool is learning how to manage our time, what to do with it. We have so much freedom with the time and nobody's telling you what to do, so it is really difficult. And as a mom, you're feeling like, well, wait a second, he's not doing any work. I got to keep nagging him. And that just doesn't turn out into a very fun thing either. So if you keep just giving him curriculum to check off the boxes, you've got to keep checking up, right? The thing is you can also get a lot of curriculum done a lot faster. And so he's probably going to be bored at home too, right? So you could talk to your son, ask him what he'd really like to learn. What projects would excite him? What does he do in his free time when he doesn't have to be in school? Why is he rushing through the work? And, it is difficult to train yourself to want to do the hard, boring things just so you can learn something when you don't really see the point. And that's part of the issue here, too, right? So, this is also another thing to look into is look into homeschool co-ops because those can really help parents with teenagers because you don't have to be the one to follow through with him, and there's a lot of good peer pressure to do the work. So, if you think about it, he probably did school work in public school because he was expected to. He had his deadlines, he knew exactly what was expected, and he had to turn it in, right? And his motivation was to get good grades. Okay, but in homeschool, that is tricky. There are no grades, so why would he do the work, right? And he knows he can get away with not doing the things because mom is going to be a lot easier on him than the school would be. That's pretty much a given in most cases. It's easier to get away with things with mom, right? So, and the other thing is just helping him understand the difference between a very structured environment and a very free environment. Maybe help him see what he would prefer to have, what will balance out in the middle, right? So there is a balance. Public school is probably too structured because when people leave public school, they don't know what to do with their lives a lot of times because nobody's telling them what to do unless they happen to get a job where the job tells them what to do, right? And I think at the same time, sometimes homeschool can be too free because there's not enough accountability. And a lot of times people don't learn how to be motivated enough to act on the things to learn, right? So as a mom, you can either be the drill sergeant or you can start helping him to take responsibility for his own education by helping him see his path, where he is going, and then implement systems that will help keep him more accountable to his goals and his direction, and other systems that help motivate him. So for that, I mean, there is a balance and there is a way to do that. If you enjoyed this little video, go ahead and hit subscribe down below and you'll see the next time I post another video. Thank you.